Now I'd like to go over with you how to do some of the advanced things in Google Slides. Now we've already learned how to create a slide. We've already learned how to click and add text. One thing you're going to need to do is to apply a theme to your presentation. You'll notice that if you click on one of the icons that you find on the left side of your screen, there is on your menu here a choice for theme. The themes show up on the right side of the screen. You can scroll through until you find a theme that you want to apply to your presentation. When you click on it, it will apply the theme. Next, you need to add bulleted items. Now, on our first slide, for example, I have my sentence here. There is not a bullet set to it. On my menu for my text, there is an option to do a bulleted list. When I click that, it makes that sentence bulleted. Now, when I press enter, if I have some additional information that goes with that first bulleted item, I want to indent my sentence over. I'm going to do that by pressing tab. When I press tab, my additional information is indented under the first one. Now when I'm finished with this additional information, I can get my text to go back to the left and line up with the first bullet by holding down Shift and pressing Tab, and that takes me back. So Tab indents, Shift Tab takes me back to the left. While we're talking about text here, the text size is very important. You'll notice that the default size that Google Slides is setting this to is size 18. And really, when you're presenting that to an audience, size 18 is way too small. So you want to make sure that you go through your presentation and you change your font size to at least size 24. That's going to make it a lot easier for your audience to read. Another thing that you may need to know how to do is to insert a table and a chart. To insert a table, we go to the Insert tab, Table. We choose how many columns and rows that we want. It inserts the table. We click inside the cells. We add the table headings, whatever you want to call them. And then you type in your information. Okay. Now to insert a chart, you can do this one of two ways. If you're doing research on your topic and you find a chart online and you want to use that image, in a moment I'll show you how to save images from the web and use them. You can also create your own chart within Google Slides. If this is how you want to do it, you go to Insert, Chart. We choose what type of chart we want to insert. Let's say I want to do a pie chart. So I click pie. Now in the top right of this image, there's a drop down arrow, and I can open the source. When I open the source, it's going to open up the Google spreadsheet that goes along with the information that's in that chart. That's going to let me then edit the information to whatever my research is. So let's pretend that for block 1, Ms. Carter has 15 freshmen, 5 10th graders, 2 11th graders, and 0 seniors. When I type in the correct information, notice that my chart automatically changes to those percentages. When I'm finished with my spreadsheet, I can then go back to my Google presentation and I can click the Update button. When I click Update, it then takes the information I fixed in my spreadsheet and puts it into the chart that's in my PowerPoint. Now, your directions are mentioning that you need to have at least one SmartArt element. So under the Insert tab, WordArt, for example, is a SmartArt element. Diagram is also another example. If I choose WordArt, for example, after I type my WordArt text, it puts it in. Notice it makes it a little fancier. I can change the fill color. I can change the outline color. I can change the font style. I can move it around where I want it to go. Now you also need to have images put into your PowerPoint. When you're on a Chromebook, let's say that I don't want to search for images within slides. I can go to a new tab and I can go to google.com and I can search for the image that I'm looking for. And under my Images tab, I can see all the images of this lovely beach scene where, oh, I wish I was. And let's say I want this image here. I can right click on it, and on your Chromebook, it'll say save to Google Drive. I can choose that. When I save it to the Google Drive, I'm able to come back over to your presentation, insert an image, and I can get it from that drive. If you want to search the web within Google Slides, you can click Search the Web. Your Google search comes up over on the right side. I can type in what I'm looking for, click the image, and down at the bottom right, once I've selected the image, I can click Insert, and it's going to then put my picture within my presentation. I can size it, make it bigger or smaller. I can right click on it and go to my format options, which lets me change the size and rotation, which also there's a circle when you click on your image in the top middle of the image where your sizing handles are, there's a circle. If I hover over that, I can rotate my image. I can choose the position, recolor. I can make adjustments to the transparency of it or the brightness. I can add a drop shadow. I can even add a reflection if I wish. Okay. Now it's not as fancy as PowerPoint, but it does give you pretty good options in there. Now you also need to know how to add transitions between slides. If I click back on my first title slide, notice that when I click on my icon for slide 1, now up there where I found theme, I now have a transition option. So if I click transition, notice that none is applied. If I click none, I can then choose from these choices here. Let's say I want it to cube. I can change the speed if I want it to go faster or slower when it cubes. I can apply it to all slides, or I can just apply it to that title slide. I'm going to apply to all because that, for one, makes it faster, and two, it's more professional to have the same exact transition for every single slide. You need to have at least one slide that has multiple animations So let me go to my second slide, which has text and a picture. Okay. Now, if I'm wanting to add animation, when I click on that icon or that thumbnail of slide 2, up here again, I'm going to go to transition. Underneath my slide transition, I have object animations. Let's say that I want my sentences to be animated. So on slide 2, I click where my text is. It selects the text box, and I can add animation. Let's say that I want the text to fly in from the left, and I want it to do it on click. Sure. All right. And again, if I move myself out of the way, I can change the speed. I can make it faster, slower, whatever I want to do there. Okay. Now, my picture, to animate it, I've got to do the same thing. I click on the picture to select it, add animation, choose what animation I want to happen, set the speed. Do I want it to happen when I click the mouse? Do I want it to happen automatically? And if I were to preview this, let's see how it looks. So I click present at the top right. There's my sentences animating in. There's my image animating in. Now, in the list of instructions that you have for your presentation you'll be doing, you'll notice that it says one animation should start on click. And in both of those examples I just did, they were both on click. That's just in this menu here. On click means you have to actually click the mouse for it to happen. And lastly, slides need to be narrated. Unfortunately, in Google Slides, when we try to insert audio, you'll notice that these are the only choices we have. My drive, share with me, and recent. There's no way for you to record. So what you're going to need to do is go to Google Extensions. So if you'll go to google.com, search for Google Extensions, and go to the Chrome Web Store. In the search, you're going to search for Simple Audio Recorder. It's the second one here, Simple Audio Recorder, and you're going to add to Chrome. It says it can read and change all data on the website that you visit. You're going to add extension. In the top, it's going to ask you to use your microphone. You want to allow that. And lastly, click Turn On. Now, back in my presentation, if I want to record something about this slide, up at the very top right of your browser, you're going to see any Chrome extensions that you've put up here. If you have too many to show them all, it's going to be under this little puzzle piece that I'm clicking on right now on my screen. Notice that I now have Simple Audio Recorder. When I click that, it starts recording immediately what I'm saying. And you're like, well, is it recording or not? Well, when I click back on that puzzle piece, notice that it's counting up 12, 13, 14. So it is recording until I click to stop it. So I would go back to my puzzle piece, Simple Audio Recorder. I'm going to click that to stop the recording. In your to insert it into your presentation, you're going to go to the Insert tab, Audio. You'll notice now that when you're looking on your drive, you'll be able to find that audio file that you just recorded. You click on it and click Select. Now it inserts the little icon for you of a little speaker. And notice on the right, we have options of how we want to play it under the format options. We can play it by clicking on it or automatically. I like automatically because then as soon as the slide comes in, it's going to start talking. I can choose the volume. I can hide it so that that little speaker icon does not show up during my presentation. If it's a song and I want it to loop, I could loop it. Good, so now let's test this out and see how it works. If I present, we'll see what happens. Okay, so you see how that worked? That's pretty cool. So each slide, I can add my own recording to it as if I'm standing up and talking to the class. I'm not going to require you to stand up and talk to the class with this presentation. The presentation is going to already be set up so that it presents itself to the class.